The Alabama Sugar Bowl Preview Show on the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield. Presented by Toyota. Visit your local Toyota dealer today. Toyota, let's go places. And by Cook's Pest Control and Centricon, the unbeatable team for termite protection. Now, here's Chris Stewart.
Welcome, everybody. Great to have you with us. As we do indeed broadcast live from the New Orleans Marriott in anticipation of the Sugar Bowl. This is, fittingly enough, the Alabama Sugar Bowl Preview Show presented by Toyota and Cook's Pest Control. It is great to have a wonderful crowd here. Glad to have all of you here with us at the New Orleans Marriott. Very pleased to have with us my broadcast partner this season on Crimson Tide Sports Network games, former Bama quarterback John Parker Wilson. JP, always good to have you with us. Happy New Year to you, and also to your coach, the man himself, Coach Nick Saban. Great to see you, sir.
Thank you. Great to be here. Happy New Year to all out there. It's great to see you, fans, and glad to see you in New Orleans. Players have had a great time here at the Sugar Bowl, and I think, you know, the players on the team that are here sort of reflect what the team is all about. You know, they worked hard all year and chose to take advantage of the opportunity they have to play against a good team in the Sugar Bowl, so we're excited.
Coach, I got here and was visiting with a few people about 40 minutes ago. There are people here from Utah, people here from Denver, a lot of people from the state of Alabama, some folks from Arkansas drove in, and we got people from all over the country that have come here to be a part of this Alabama experience in the Sugar Bowl once again. Really special. It
sure is, and it's been great for the players. I mean, the Sugar Bowl folks have done a great job for our players. I think that's what going to bowl games are really all about, is to reward for the players and the fans for having a good season, and I think that's one of the things that is special about college football. I think it's a little bit unfortunate that when we started having a playoff, which is a good thing, it sort of minimize the importance to some degree of being able to go to a bowl game. But the Sugar Bowl and some of the bowl games and the opportunities you have to play against really good teams is, you know, something that the team can really sort of, they have something to prove. You know, the circumstances that you're in don't make you who you are, but they kind of reveal who you are. So it's interesting to see how everybody responds to playing well against a really good team, a team that they could make an argument for being in the playoff as well because they beat one of the teams that's in the playoff. So it kind of reveals who we are in terms of the character that we have and what it means to the players to finish the year on a positive note.
Coach, speaking of revealing, what does it reveal about your team and the culture that you've been able to build with having guys like Bryce and Will Anderson deciding to come back and play for this game when they do have so much on the line, but being leaders like they have been all year to come back and stick it out for their teammates?
Well, those are special people. They've been really good players for us, but they've been great leaders. They've been great role models for the other players on the team. They've set a really good example. It's really important to them to have an impact and affect the other people on the team in a positive way. They both got elected captains by their team mates. You know, Will was the most inspirational player. Bryce was the most valuable player, both voted on by their teammates. But when I say that this team that's here is really what the Alabama team represents, and I think those guys are a big part of it, and because they were leaders of the team, they both wanted to participate. But I also think that, you know, a lot of guys opt out of playing bowl games. They opt out of playing for their team, and I think that's not a really good thing for college football, whether you get in a portal or whether you decide that, you know, you hear so many guys say, I'm not going to play because I'm going to get ready for the NFL draft. Me personally, and I think our players feel this way, I think Will feels this way, I think Bryce feels this way, how better to get ready for the NFL draft than to play really well against a really good team? So when you say you're getting ready for the NFL draft, you're really saying you're getting ready for the combine. But when you go to the combine, half the stuff that you do at the combine is irrelevant to playing football. And I think Tom Brady probably is the best example of all that. He couldn't bench press very much. He couldn't vertical jump very high. Couldn't run very fast. So everybody sort of killed him for all those things that he couldn't do at the combine. He got drafted in the 6th round. But the one thing he could do is play quarterback. But that doesn't really get revealed, at the combine. So I think that it's a great example that these guys set, that they chose to play for their team. And it sets a great example and sends a message to a lot of other players that, playing for your team is a really important thing and speaks volumes of your character and your commitment to your teammates.
Coach, it's a great example. We just wish you hadn't used Tom Brady as the example because his bowl game was against us. So it didn't go well.
Well,
that was long before you got here.
No, I played against him, though, when I was at Michigan State, and he was at Michigan. But fortunately, they were alternating quarterbacks.
Yeah.
So when he was in there, they scored 31 points. When the other guy was in there, they didn't score any, and we won 34-31. So
your recollections, your memories of it's a whole lot better than ours were. We promise you that. Coach, for a bowl experience for these guys, I travel with football, basketball, baseball. And I know with football, when you're on the road, team flies in, you're at the hotel, you might go to a movie collectively the night before, depending on when the next day's game happens to be. And then the game ends, you're back on the plane, and you go back. Basketball every year, there's usually a tournament somewhere. Christmas, Thanksgiving, something like that. It's almost like a mini bowl trip in essence. This is the one time they actually get to enjoy not just a game or a destination, but maybe a little bit of downtime together on the road. And I know that's pretty special and some great memories for them as well.
Yeah, that's one of the things that we really think that we actually want to try to promote on our team is to get the players to do more things together. And they've done a tremendous amount of things here together. One of the things that we emphasized, to them is, don't go anyplace by yourself. Go with somebody else. It's safer that way. Don't leave anybody behind. And they've spent a lot of good time together. And this is a great experience for them. I think this is the 7th Sugar Bowl we've been in, or I've been to, with Miss Terry. So they haven't been. So these are great experiences for them. But I do think the future of the bowl games may change a little bit because I remember when we played Oklahoma in Miami in the playoff game in the Orange Bowl. And 7 days later, we had to be in San Jose to play Clemson in a national championship game. And we were in Miami for a week, and we came back to Tuscaloosa for 3 days. Then we have to go there 4 days before the game. That was tough. So I think if we're going to go to a 12-team playoff and the bowl games are going to be a part of that, they're going to have to look at this a little bit more like a business trip. Maybe it's a 3 or 4 day trip that the players get, because if you're going to have to play somebody the next week, it's a tough turnaround to go someplace else for 3 or 4 days. But the way it is right now, it's a great experience for players, and I'm glad that our players have had an opportunity to spend a lot of time together. And because we got the morning practice time, so we practice at 10 o'clock in the morning, we're back here by 12:30 every day. They're free. They're free to go, and I trust them. We haven't had any issues or problems. And, the leadership group decides when the curfew is. They said 12 o'clock, 11 o'clock tonight, I think, but I haven't had an issue, not at all, and they've had a lot of free time.
You brought it up, and so I've got to ask the question of your quarterback 15 years ago. Who was your chaperone in New Orleans? You making sure you were with linemen? I'm going to guess you weren't hanging around with kickers to protect you.
No.
You made sure that you went out.
The bigger the better for me. The bigger the guys, the better. Was always good. But I do remember the bowl games, though. As you get older, become upperclassmen, you move off campus and you don't live in the dorms anymore. So being at a bowl game like this for an extended period of time, you feel like you're in the dorm again. I mean, it's fun to be around your guys, doors propped open and just coming in and out of the room. So it is a special time. I know it means a lot for the players, and, the coaches get to bring their families down here and spend extended periods of time with them. So it's fun, but, I definitely, always would hang out with offensive linemen. Like to keep them happy. The more happy they were, the better it was for me on Saturday. So that was my philosophy.
Well, but the one thing about it is, no matter how much fun you have, the thing that you remember is how'd the game go. If you're a competitor, you want to win. And if you don't do that, all those other things don't add up to quite the same positive experience, because that's really what you always remember about, how did you play in the game? How did you finish the season? And, I think for our team, they've got a little bit to prove in terms of, we thought maybe we should have had a chance to get in the playoffs, and we didn't. And this will be the opportunity, even though we're missing some players who chose not to play in the game. It's an opportunity to show what kind of team we have, because the team we're playing is a really good team. So it's good that they're a good team, because it gives us an opportunity to show who we are.
Years ago, used to hear coaches talk about another one of the benefits for a bowl game being the additional practice time you got, and I understand that there's definitely value to that. But with what's happened with the rules and how they've given you more time and chances for 7-on-7 type stuff in the off season, is it as big a deal from that standpoint, the additional practice time, as it used to be?
It's a huge deal. It's
Okay.
a huge deal for young players, because it's almost like we have 11 practices. We look at this as a one-game season, so we go back from the game and have 7 practices, 3 days off for Christmas, and then a regular week when we get here. So for the young players on our team, and you can just, I actually make comments on watching a practice film today with the coaches, how much some of the young players have really improved because of the reps they get. They get more reps because we're missing some players. We have some players injured, so it gives the young players a much better opportunity in practice to be able to get multiple reps, and they've improved tremendously. We have a huge number of players that have. We also have 10 players who are able to come to the bowl game this year who we just signed. So a player that signs at mid-year can now used to be able to come to bowl practice when you're practicing Tuscaloosa, but this year they made the rule that they come to the bowl game too. So those guys have got a tremendous amount of work as well to get their development started as a college football player.
The New Orleans Marriott, it is the Alabama Sugar Bowl preview show presented by Toyota and Cook's Pest Control. Coach Nick Saban here. John Parker Wilson is here. Mark Ingram will be joining us very shortly. Look forward to that. You're listening to that bowl preview show from the Marriott in downtown New Orleans, and it's right here on the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield. Folks, just want to tell you while we're in a commercial break that if you got a question for Coach, we're going to give you an opportunity to do that. I'm going to do my best to find Caitlin, who's got the microphone somewhere. There's Caitlin, back to my right. Caitlin, raise your hand again. Caitlin's there. If you got a question, raise your hand, and we'll start letting Coach take questions from y'all.
Dealer fees. See dealer for details.
Bryce gets the snap, rolling to his right as he's flush, heading for the pylon. Get the race, wins the race. Touchdown, Alabama. One of the highlights during the season for fifth-ranked Alabama, 10-2 on the year, a 6-2 mark against Southeastern Conference competition. Kansas State, the Wildcats out of the Big 12, went 7-2 in their league, 10-3 overall, and of course facing Alabama in this Sugar Bowl that'll take place on Saturday at the Caesars Superdome here in New Orleans. We'll start bright and early. 11 a.m. is our kickoff time for the Crimson Tide and the Wildcats. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Chris Stewart alongside John Parker Wilson, head coach Nick Saban here as well, and will be joining us back on stage in just a few moments, signing some autographs and meeting with a great crowd that's assembled here at this New Orleans Marriott for us to bring you our Alabama Sugar Bowl preview show. And again, it's presented by Toyota and Cook's Pest Control. John Parker Wilson, it is a different deal. You remember this as a player and the opportunity to participate in a bowl game, a very special event.
It really was. And, you know, you talked earlier about the practice and the preparation that you have after the season that leads up to this bowl game. I remember after Coach Saban's first year, I felt like that's when our team, like, you go through the season and there's so much to digest after that, and then you can kind of reset everything, go through some practices, and get ready for the bowl game. I thought it was huge for us. I know it is for a lot of teams. So, you know, get those extra reps. It's a big deal, and teams either take advantage of it or you don't, and that's the thing about playing at a bowl games is how well do you prepare for these games.
Coach, with it being a Saturday game on the calendar, I've got to think that helps players a little bit. That part is not any different than what you normally deal with. I guess speaking in terms of sticking to a routine, you don't have to adjust the calendar for them.
Well, we go through the same routine no matter what day of the week we play. A Monday, no matter where it falls, is a Monday practice, a Tuesday practice throughout the week, and that's how we prepare the team. So that doesn't really have a huge impact. But, you know, players have to be able to be resilient to whatever the circumstance that they have to play in. 11 o'clock in the morning, 9 o'clock at night, it doesn't matter. You have to be able to not let those kind of external factors sort of determine how you perform or how you play. So you got to stay focused and committed to, you know, doing your job, what's in front of you. And I think we all have to do that or have some circumstance that we have to do that in our life, you know, as well. So, but it just fell that we're playing on a Saturday and we started on Monday, and I don't know that anybody really knows what day of the week it is when it's really happening. You just kind of do what you got to do, and that's how we try to go through a routine to get the players ready to play.
877-202-BAMA is the number to call, 877-202-BAMA, if you'd like to be a part of the Alabama Sugar Bowl preview show presented by Toyota and Cook's Pest Control. We're broadcasting live from the Marriott in downtown New Orleans. And, Coach, I can't see, but I'm going to go out on a limb and guess that our first question of the night is indeed going to come from a man you're used to hearing from. Pee-wee is not in Grand Bay, Coach. Pee-wee is here in New Orleans in the room. Pee-wee, welcome.
Pee-wee is in the house.
Hey, Coach, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing great.
Coach, I wanted to ask two things. When the team started preparation for the bowl game, were they as focused as they finished bowl preparation in the beginning, or was there a period of time to where they actually all kind of bought in and was able to do this? And then second part is how important controlling the line of scrimmage is going to be on both sides of the ball.
Well, that's always important, and that's what you always want to talk about. So, in fact, you're kind of the offensive line coach, so I was going to ask you the same thing. But I think it's always really important. They do a good job of trying to run the ball and create formations, so how we play up front on defense is going to be huge. They've got a great play-action pass game and make a lot of explosive plays as well. So, but stopping the run and creating favorable down and distance is really important when you're playing defense. And the way they play offense, the way they play defense and the way we need to play offense is they're in a 3-3 stack with sometimes three guys across on defense, so less guys in the box, but really difficult from an 8-man dropping in pass coverage quite a bit. So to be able to run the ball and have great balance against a team like this is of utmost importance. So being able to control the line of scrimmage is going to be really, really important in the game. But where we're a little affected is depth-wise. I think everybody knows the guys that opted out for whatever reasons, and depth in certain positions on the team is not what it was in the past, but it really did give a lot of opportunity for the young guys to be able to get lots of reps and lots of experience. So, and the offensive line is one of the areas where we're a little thin in this game, but the starters are all guys that have played significant amounts, so that's not going to be a problem. But the backups are less experienced.
Coach, you talk about the 3-3 stack and kind of what we've seen so far from this Kansas State team on offense and also on defense. How much does a game plan change from a bowl compared to the regular season, just with the length of time that coordinators have to tinker and to change with what they've been doing the first 12 games? Now you can open it up. How do you prepare for that, and how do we change, and how does that evolve throughout the bowl practice?
Well, I think you can do it quite a bit on offense because you see how other people attacked the team throughout the season. You have a time, we usually watch 4 games in preparation for a game. You can watch the whole season of games because you have so much time in preparation. So you can do a lot more stuff on offense. I think on defense, offense sort of dictates what happens in a game by formation, and the offense determines that. The defense has to react to that. So on defense, you have to have a system that players understand and can adapt and adjust to something that is new. So to do a lot of new things on defense that the players aren't familiar with and can't adjust and adapt in the game may not be such a good idea, but it's probably a good idea to have a few new wrinkles and way to approach the way you do things on offense. That can create an advantage for you, and that's what we expect the other team to do to us. And you're going to present what you do in a different way by different formation or whatever, because that's what affects the defensive player. So I think we have a good plan on offense, and I think they've done a nice job hopefully being able to run and pass effectively in the game.
They've rolled a couple of different guys out at quarterback, whether it's Will Howard or Adrian Martinez, who a lot of people know from his time at Nebraska. Coach Wood, kind of discuss the differences that you see in those two guys.
Well, Martinez is a very athletic guy, probably the better runner of the two, and 18 is probably the better passer. But they run the ball really effectively. They got a little guy, number 22. You talk about heart and soul. You want to be an athlete, and you want to be like him as a competitor. He's about 5'6". I don't know how much he weighs, but he's as good a competitor pound for pound as anybody we played against. He's a good receiver. He's a good runner, and he's not very big, but he doesn't play small, I can tell you that. So they've got some really good players, and they play really well with either quarterback. Their style changes a little bit. There's more quarterback runs when number 9 plays, and 18's probably a little bit more diverse as a passer, although both guys are capable of throwing the ball, and they have a little more balance when 18's in the game.
Coach, I'm trying to see if we've got anybody else. We got another question from the audience? We do indeed. If you would say your name and go ahead with your question for Coach.
My name's Rick Webster, here with my wife, Robin. We're Virginia Tech Hokies, but we have a tremendous amount of respect for Alabama, and it really is an honor to be here. Here's the question for me after watching the North Carolina-Oregon game last night. So you score with 1:20 to go to take the lead. 2 scenarios. Kansas State needs a field goal to win, or they need a touchdown to win. What defense are you going to play?
I'm sure this is a loaded question. You want me to say prevent? Look, the way we approach 2-minute, and I can give you stories about this, but it's a little bit different. When we played Dallas in the Dallas Cowboys, when I was at the Cleveland Browns as defensive coordinator, they needed a touchdown to win. We were punting the ball back to them with 1:23 to go in the game. And we had good field position, so I had the defensive players all on the sidelines, and I said, look, we're going to play this way up to the 50-yard line. And then from the 50-yard line in, we got to play this way. So really what you try to do in a 2-minute situation, it's not prevent, but you want to play zone. You want to try to keep the ball, make them throw the ball underneath so you can break on the ball and keep the clock running. See how much you can shrink the game by the time they get to the 50-yard line. Then you got to really start trying to deny the ball, which now you play more man-to-man, whether it's 5 under 2 deep or whether it's some kind of zero pressure, whatever you want to do. But you got to be more aggressive, but you want to see how much you can shrink the game. And that's not playing prevent. That's not, and you can define prevent a lot of different ways. Just because you rush 3 guys, that's not prevent. The team we're playing in this game, they'll rush 3 guys a lot in a game, but that's just the way they play. And they have 8 guys in coverage, which makes it a little more difficult for the quarterback to read. They can disguise their coverages better and all that. So, but going back to the Dallas game, so they had this guy Williams who was from Miami, who was their punt returner and a really good receiver. So he catches the ball on the 5-yard line and runs it all the way back to the 50. So I had to tell the defensive players before they went on the field, Pepper Johnson, we're in plan B already. We ain't called one defense up to the 50-yard line. And we stopped them on the last play of the game, so we won the game. So you have to be able to execute whatever it is you're going to do. If you play man-to-man, you have a chance to give up big plays. You play zone, you have a better chance to make the ball go underneath and shrink the game a little bit. Sometimes you rush 8, sometimes you drop 8, sometimes you can rush 5, try to pressure the quarterback. And it depends on who you're playing as to what and exactly how you would play. So I didn't see the game last night, and we got up early today and started early, so I didn't even know what the score of the game was and who won. But obviously somebody didn't do a very good job in 2 minutes. Is that what you're trying to tell me? But even in our Tennessee game this year, when they get the ball back with, not much time at all left to go in the game, the first time we rushed 3 and dropped 8. The guy that was supposed to be in the curl took the bait and went to the flat, and they hit a dig, which is a 15-yard square in. So the next time we played 5 under man-to-man, and the guy covered his guy and dropped the coverage right before the guy caught the ball. So they completed 2 balls. We weren't playing any prevent. They got the ball down the field and kicked a field goal and won the game after we missed a field goal. So we didn't execute what we did, and I think a lot of times people misinterpret what kind of defense are you playing in a situation, or what kind of offense are you playing relative to how did you execute. Because if you execute well, you're probably going to have a better chance to be successful, and if you don't execute, the other team's going to have a chance to be successful.
The Yellowhammer Brewing hotline is open at 877-202-BAMA if you'd like to join us here on the Alabama Sugar Bowl preview show presented by Toyota and Cook's Pest Control, but also a great crowd with us here at the New Orleans Marriott. We'll continue to take questions from the audience and from you at home as we roll on right after this on the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield. Joe Earl in motion to the right side. Bryce gets the snap, looks right, looks left, has a man catch made. McClellan. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Touchdown, Alabama. 10-yard touchdown play. Bryce to Jace, and the Tide is on top for the first time today. Alabama taking on Kansas State 2 days from now, an 11 a.m. kick at the Caesars Superdome here in New Orleans. I'm Chris Stewart alongside John Parker Wilson. Tom Stipe, our producer engineer here on site, as usual, and a great job by Tom in coordinating with the New Orleans Marriott and getting this show put together. Appreciate him so much, along with our boss, Jim Carabin. Terrific people, and thankful we have an opportunity to work with them. Coach Nick Saban back on stage with us in just a few moments. John Parker, bowl season, a little bit of that break, the holidays. Is that the toughest part for a player, to sneak in Christmas before you get right back into work again?
Yeah, you try to sneak it in. It's honestly not, or at least when I was playing, it's not a huge priority, right? I mean, it's just like, okay, we want to get to the game. Let's go play. And it's a long time from the last season, but you obviously want to go see your family, but you're ready to play some football. And that's what we want to do. We want to go compete. You want to go win. So it's kind of like, let's go. Let's hurry up. Let's get it done. It's like Christmas morning is here in 2 days when we kick off the Sugar Bowl. It's not December 25th when you're actually playing, right? And it changes and evolves, but, football players, we just want to go play. We want to compete, and that's everything else is kind of a distraction along the way.
Been around you long enough, Coach. I'm sure that's probably the same way for you.
He didn't like to practice. That's why he said that.
He just put it on a tee for you, didn't he?
I did. I got to watch this.
That's right. For you, and obviously when you had little ones in the house for the first time, Christmas changes. I don't care how little Christmas time you actually get. It makes it different. How about now with grandkids?
Well, with grandkids or when our kids were little, to me, I've been able to at least be able to separate things a little bit better and enjoy the couple days you have for Christmas. We gave everybody 3 days for Christmas, all the players and coaches alike. So I think that sort of downtime sort of refreshes me a little bit. So when we get back at it, I'm ready to get back at it. But I also enjoy the time that we have together with family. I think it's special and don't get a lot of it in this profession. So
speaking of family, Coach, speaking of family, number 22 has just walked in. Mark Ingram joining us here on stage at the New Orleans Marriott. We're in his town, Coach, as you well know. But Mark, it's great to see you and welcome into the show.
Hey. Always good to be with my Roll Tide family all day. Who that? Roll Tide family. We in NOLA, so it's who that. But it's always Roll Tide forever, no matter what. So always good to be with my people for sure.
Coach, I love seeing the look on your face when a former player walks in.
Yeah, wow.
It's special for you.
You share great experiences when you're on a team, and especially when you're on a successful team that wins a championship. I think people don't realize sometimes what that means to everybody that makes a commitment to something and works so hard for a period of time, and everybody's together as a team, everybody does their part, everybody's responsible for their role. You develop a tremendous amount of trust and respect, for your teammates, that they're going to do what they're supposed to do. And this team that we had in 2009 that won a championship, and I still have the picture of Mark scoring a touchdown against Texas, behind my couch. So,
I'm still up in the house, Coach. I like that.
It's something you really don't forget.
Sure.
And there's this underlying sort of respect and admiration that you have for, all the players on the team. And every time you see one, you're just so happy that you're able to share such a great experience with them.
You talked about it before several times, but Julio and his signing with Alabama, how that changed things. We didn't know as much, we as fans didn't know as much about Mark Ingram, but John Parker, Rashad Johnson, guys that were a part of that 08 team, when those freshmen came in, Julio, Mark, I go back to the game against Clemson in Atlanta, where Alabama looked different when those guys all took the field. I know that didn't wind up being an SEC championship team. It was a divisional championship squad. But that was the season, Coach, that for us as fans, I think, showed Alabama can be Alabama again, and then you took it to a level we never even anticipated?
Well, that team went 12-0 in the second year they were here. Of course, we played Florida. I think they were 1, we were 2, and they beat us in the SEC championship game. The next year we beat them, and we won the national championship, and they went on to win the national championship in 2008. But the thing that I always cherish about these guys in this class that we recruited, these guys all came to Alabama when we weren't any good. We weren't any good. We were 6-6 when they came. But they all wanted to, trusted and believed in something that we were trying to build. And that was a great recruiting class. Cody, Mark Barron, I mean, there's numbers of guys that have had very successful careers from that team, including Mark. But what a great recruiting class, what a great bunch of guys. And these guys were committed in a way that I've never ever, I've probably told this story before, but back in those days when we played Texas in 2009 in a Rose Bowl, the players could make like $1,000 if they would go destination to destination. That was the NCAA rule. If you took a charter, they didn't get anything. So we got to get to California the day after Christmas to play this game, or whenever it was, and it might have been after New Year's, but we didn't have playoffs then. This was just a national championship game. So we couldn't get everybody there. We had all these guys from all these little towns in Alabama and Mississippi and Louisiana and all over the country, really, and we couldn't get everybody to the game. So I brought these guys in and I said, look, if we take a charter, you guys are going to lose $1,000 each. So I'm not going to tell you we got to take a charter, but we're going to have a hard time getting everybody to the game if we don't take a charter, because we're going to have a tough time getting there for practice, and we're going to have guys missing practice coming in from all over the place. So I said, I'm going to have a team meeting today, and we're going to vote on it. Well, Rolando McClain and these guys who are on the leadership group said, let us talk to the team before we have a vote. So they went in the team room and talked to the team, and I came in and explained what I just explained. You all going to lose $1,000 apiece, but you won't have a hard time getting everybody to the game. So we're going to vote on taking a charter. I even called the NCAA and tried to get them extra money if we took a charter, and they wouldn't go for it. So I go in and give my explanation. We have a vote, 125-0 to take a charter.
Not surprised. Was Rolando in charge of all that, Mark?
We had a special group of guys, man. We had a real special group of guys. Ro, man, we just had a great group of guys, man. Like, we all came in, we all bought in, we all wanted to do something special, be a part of something special. We cared about each other. We worked our butts off in practice, held each other accountable when we was away from practice, like, you know what I mean, going to class, doing all that. So it was just a special group of guys. Like Coach said, just a number of us have went on to be successful in the NFL and other careers as well. You know what I mean? So just to be a part of a brotherhood like that, and it's just the brotherhood, the Alabama brotherhood, man. It's something that, like, I didn't know about. Growing up, I'm from Michigan. Like, I watched Big Ten football, but I remember watching my dad always, like, flip the channel, like, watch CBS, and, like, you could just tell the difference in the games in the SEC and the Big Ten. I'm like, just saying. It's just the truth. I'm a Michigan State legacy. Like, my grandpa played there, my dad played there, my mom went to school there. So, but no, I had to go be a champ. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, and I coached there.
Yep.
When Mark's daddy was playing, and he was a first-round draft pick and a great player. So Andre Rison, who was also a great NFL player and a great player, and also from Flint, Michigan, was also there. So George Perlis was the head coach. So in the summertime, he used to go to Europe, and I was in charge of. And in those days, you could take as many hours as you needed in the summer to get eligible. So Mark, who was a first-round draft pick, Mark's daddy, and Andre Rison, who was a first-round draft pick. These guys were the hardest guys to get to go to class sometimes, and I was in charge of trying to find them. So the only way I could find them is I knew Mark's dad's girlfriend, So I would call her, and she would rat out on them. And I would be able to go find them, get them to go to class and do what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
So when we're recruiting him, I go to home visit. His granddad's there, who I'd met before, and Mom's there. I don't know if that's really the girl I used to call. That was my girlfriend.
You don't know if you can tell the story or not. Yeah. That's great.
So,
True story.
and she knew it. She knew it. And for the whole 2 hours that I was there and talked. And then at the end, she got a big grin on her face, and she said, "I'm the one you used to call."
True story. True story. That was funny. That's
So
funny.
good. So good indeed. Mark Ingram with us, John Parker Wilson, and of course, head coach Nick Saban as we continue from the Marriott on Canal Street in New Orleans. Our Alabama Sugar Bowl preview show is presented by Toyota and Cook's Pest Control. We'll get questions from the audience and from you at 877-202-BAM on that Yellowhammer Brewing hotline. Stay with us right here on the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield. Bryce with a lot of time, looking down the field, firing, catches made, Law, first down and more, gets to midfield, gets to the 45 of Auburn, gets to the 40, and gets down to the 35-yard line. A huge bank first down. Butch tells me 39 yards, and Bama moves the sticks again. And by golly, if Butch tells me it's 39 yards, I'm saying 39 yards because he's the best. Butch Owens, our spotter and statistician on the radio broadcast, one of several great people I had the privilege of working with this year, and Butch has been a part of the network for more than 3 decades. The guy you never hear from, but has been a huge part of what takes place on Alabama broadcast for quite a while. He doesn't like it when I say quite a while, but it's the truth. We're glad to have you with us here at the Marriott in downtown New Orleans. It's the Alabama Sugar Bowl preview show. I'm Chris Stewart along with John Parker Wilson, Mark Ingram, kind enough to join us for the program tonight as well, and their head coach, our head coach, Nick Saban, here as well, talking to some folks in the room. He'll be back on stage in a few more moments. Mark, update us. How you doing? I know the knee injury right now has got you free for events such as this tonight, which we're really glad to have you here, but sorry for the circumstances.
Yeah, I would have been able to make time regardless, but it's in the evening. But nah,
Gotcha.
my knee is doing well. Obviously, I re-injured it. I had a MCL sprain earlier in the year, and 3 weeks ago on a Monday night game, I re-injured it. So I won't be playing any more of the regular season. So hopefully we have a small percent chance to still make the playoffs. If we make the playoffs, I have a chance to get back in and contribute then. But they made the decision that it would be best for me to give my knee some time to heal and strengthen back up. The good thing was I didn't need surgery, and so that's a blessing. I'm thankful for that. Still feel good. Still have ball left in me, and just got to get healthy and keep it pushing.
That's awesome. Glad to hear the recovery's going well. Coach, I believe we've got another question from the audience. Young lady's got one for you there.
Hi. So I live on a golf course, and I have seen you playing golf. And so my question is, except you, out of everybody on the Alabama coach staff, who's the best golfer?
Not me. T-Rob's pretty decent. I don't get to play with these guys much, and Pete Golding's pretty decent. I don't really get to play with the coaches much. Sometimes we have events where we get to play together, but most of the time it's a scramble or something. So, but one of the things that's great about golf, it's kind of a metaphor of life. You hit a good shot, you feel really good about it, but if you don't focus on the next shot, you hit it in the water. And if you hit it in the woods, you can focus on the next shot and hit it on the green. So when I was in Ireland playing, and I hit one of those pot-belly bunkers, and the caddy was one of those guys from over there. I think he was in his flask about the whole time we were playing. And I had a few cuss words because I couldn't get the ball out of the pot-belly bunker. And he said, "You Americans have this game all wrong." He said, "We name these things traps and hazards and bunkers and all these things because it's supposed to be an opportunity. When you get in one, you're supposed to look forward to the opportunity of getting out, not being upset that you got in." So I said, that's a pretty good coaching point because I never ever, I got to cuss my way in and out of those.
Well, it's also about getting the right teammate and the guy to your left. But I know both of these guys can play, but you've played with Mark Ingram a few times, Coach.
Yeah, we used to play in, Mark's a really good player. We used to play in the, whatever they call it over there, for Chick-fil-A thing, yeah. And we had a chance to win one year. I got to tell this story.
Mm-hmm.
So
Got to.
We're in the playoffs, so we kept playing 18 over and over and over, like 5 times, right? Yep. So we're tied. And I think it was Georgia Tech, right? So we're like, I got to go speak. The plane is on the runway. They got it running, ready for me to take off to go speak at one of these alumni functions that we have. So on the 5th playoff hole, I looked at Mark and I said, Mark, win or lose, I'm really proud of, us being in the position that we're in, because I was thinking I'm going to have to break it to him that I'm going to have to walk out on him, pretty soon. And he looked at me and he said, "Coach, you didn't bring me up that way. We're going to win this thing."
Yeah. He talking about he got to leave. We in the middle of it. We in a battle for the title, man. He talking about he got to leave. I'm like, man, what you talking about? Hey.
Was that Paul Johnson and Rick Barry?
Yeah, that was them.
And Rick Barry is like a negative handicap or something like that.
Good.
Did we win?
No.
No, we got
because his mindset wasn't there.
That's right. You got to stay focused. You got to lock in. Keep all the negative external factors away.
Man, he let the doubt and the other stuff just creep in, and it got us killed.
I'm going to go that y'all won the football division, though, because even Paul Johnson obviously was the football coach. Rick Barry doesn't count. The team that had the 2 football players or football representatives won. What we'll go with.
That's fine.
That's my ruling. I'm giving
in second, no matter how.
Okay. I tried to help. Tried to help, Mark. Tried to make it better.
Bro. No helping, man. We lost it, bro.
All right.
We lost it.
At least you didn't walk out on it, though. You fought to the end. Let's see. We got another question there. Nobody's got one right now. JP, you got one for Coach or for your old teammate?
What's your handicap, by the way?
Mine?
Yeah.
Man, I don't have a handicap because I do not play enough.
Okay.
So I will go and play with you. I will not hold you up. I promise. I'm gonna be able to keep up and hold my own. You ain't gonna have to be waiting on me to hit my shots. I'm gonna play.
Pick it up quick and let's go.
I'm gonna hit, and I'm gonna hit some good ones. I'm gonna hit some bad ones. I'm gonna shoot a mid-80, maybe. You know what I mean?
All right.
I ain't gonna hold you up. You know what I mean? So we can go play.
I like it.
When I'm done playing, though, I'm coming though. I'm gonna be a scratch guy.
I bet you can hit it pretty good way down the fairway, though.
Yeah, I got a nice little right to left.
Okay.
You know, hit.
He's about a 5. All this BS I'm listening to.
No, I'm not.
He's setting you up. He's setting you up, ready to take your lunch money, John
don't
Parker
play
Wilson.
He can't play me.
This
I know.
app. If you register your score after every time you play, it'll build it up. It'll build it up.
I'm gonna start this off season.
There we go. We'll play together. We'll need to get one more.
Coach, I think we better head to Daphne. Tony, you're next up on the show, the Yellowhammer Brewing Hotline.
Hey, John Parker and Coach and Mark. Roll Tide and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year
Coach,
to you.
earlier you spoke and mentioned that there are several players who've opted out. So I'm curious, have there been any real surprises for you in respect to players that have really stepped it up in preparation for this game, that have really put a smile on your face and have got you excited? And the second part of that is, you know, do you have a feeling that everybody is all in for this game, or are there any concerns? And that's pretty much what I wanted to ask.
Right. Well, that's a good question. This has been the most enjoyable bowl practice experience we have ever had. I've ever had. Bowl. I mean, the playoff teams are always, they're always ready to roll. But one of the things that all the blinking lights are gone. You know what I mean by blinking lights? You know, when you look at a Christmas tree and one light's blinking, that's all you look at is the blinking light. You don't see the beauty of all the rest of it. Well, when you have guys on your team sometimes that, I call them energy vampires, you use all your energy on these guys trying to get them to do what they're supposed to do. Those are the kind of guys that don't end up playing in bowl games and don't end up doing the best thing and make the best choices and decisions for the team and all that, because they've got other motives, which I'm not being critical of. But this team has really worked hard and done really, really well. And a lot of players on our team have made a significant improvement. And it's been one of the most enjoyable bowl practices. Sometimes it's like pulling teeth, especially, we've been in the playoffs since 2010, like, I don't know, 9 out of the last 11 years or 12 years or something. So we've only had 2 or 3 of these experiences where we're not in the playoffs, and that kind of becomes the goal that everybody's looking to do. And then when you don't make it, it's a little bit of a letdown, and then it's a tough motivation to get the guys going. But it hadn't been this year. It hasn't been this year. So hopefully, it'll show up on the field on Saturday.
All right, Coach, we are going to take one more quick break. We'll come back and we'll get your final word, presented by Mercedes-Benz, continuing on from the Marriott in downtown New Orleans, right here on the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield. Motion to McClellan. Bryce again with all day. Firing towards the end zone. Brooks. Catch. Touchdown, Alabama. 33 yards. Ja'Cory Brooks. He tied the game with Auburn late last year. Today, he gives Bama a 2-score lead late in the first half. Continuing on with more of the Alabama Sugar Bowl preview show live from the Marriott on Canal Street here in New Orleans. Chris Stewart, John Parker Wilson, Mark Ingram, and for one more segment, head coach Nick Saban with us here as well. Coach, we've talked about these two gentlemen on the stage a little bit, but if you could share one more word about what their legacy and guys that were their teammates meant to establishing what has been a historic run for the Alabama program in all of college football since you have arrived and since these guys were a part of those first 2 seasons.
Well, I think they started a run of, 15 seasons of 10 wins. Started with these guys when we were first here. And the thing that I mentioned before about, guys come to Alabama now because of what Alabama can do for them. These guys came to prove something that they, had a goal, an objective to trust and believe in something that was bigger than themselves. And we had a great recruiting class, and these guys had a tremendous impact on the program, and they set a standard. And I think that standard is, like, why did you come to Alabama? That's what I ask our freshmen now. Why did you come to Alabama? You came, we told you we want to help develop you to create the most value for your future that we possibly could. So are you up to it? I mean, are you willing to do the work? Are you willing to put in the time? Are you willing to make the commitment to do the things you need to do to be the best that you can be? And that's what these guys did. They set a standard for it, which was an example for every group that came behind them. And it established a culture, and a culture of a standard of excellence that people always talk about. Me, it was them that actually created, that standard and that culture that became an expectation. I've probably told this before, but Julio was watching 7-on-7 4 or 5 years ago in the summertime when the coaches weren't allowed to be out there, and some receiver dropped the ball, kicked the ball, cussed the quarterback, cussed the guy that was covering them and all that. And Julio just called him over the side and said, "That's not how we do it here." Julio hadn't played for 10 years at Alabama, but there was a culture that was established about how things are done in terms of how it would benefit you in your future and how you could create value by doing it that way. But also it was something that, you had to challenge yourself to try to live up to. So, and I still ask the players, are you up to it? This is why you came here. Do you want to sort of elevate yourself, to commit yourself to do things at this level, which will obviously be a challenge for you, but it's also going to benefit you tremendously in the future. But these guys, they laid the foundation for it and established the culture that has, been something that has helped us be successful through the years. There's no doubt about it. Now, it's more challenging now because the players have a lot more choices and opportunities. They don't have to stay committed to the program at all. So, it's going to be different, but it's a challenge that we're looking forward to.
Wonderful stuff as always, Coach. We appreciate the time you spent, but we always give you the final word, presented by Mercedes-Benz.
Well, I said this earlier, but this is really a great opportunity for our team to have a chance to prove something against a good team, that, they're one of the best teams in the country. And even though we may not have all the parts that we had earlier in the season, whether it's injury or guys that decided to go someplace else or not play on our team, I still love the attitude and the character that this team has, the leadership that we have, the whole fact that, Will and Bryce both chose to play in this game, and how can we help benefit them for their commitment to the team. And, the fans should also support that as well. These guys are great players. People should have, tremendous respect and admiration and gratitude, to these players to continue to want to play for Alabama and play in a bowl game when they've already established great value for themselves, and look at it as an opportunity to help their teammates, and hopefully their teammates will support them in a way that'll create even more value for them. So this is just a great opportunity, and it's a good team to, prove who we are. Not, like I said before, it's circumstances don't make you who you are. It reveals who you are. So we'll see who we are, and I've been pleased with the way these guys have responded so far, and hopefully, we'll come out and be able to play and support each other in a way that they'll be successful. That would be my hope and dream for them.
Coach, as always, we thank you for the time and good luck Saturday.
All right, thank you.
Head coach Nick Saban with us here on the Alabama Sugar Bowl preview show presented by Toyota and Cook's Pest Control. While we've got a moment, why don't we pause 10 seconds so our local stations can identify themselves to you. Welcome to the Crimson Tide Sports Network.
You're clear.
Visit AutoOwners.com.
Folks, just want to let you know we've got 30 more minutes of the show. If you'd love to stick around, we would love to have you. We're going to have Mark and JP here as the show will continue until 7:30. So just wanted to make sure we pass that along. Thanks so much. And you folks that are standing at the back, if you'd like to come sit at the tables, you're welcome to do so. Though if the tables are vacated, then we'd love to have you join. Not trying to run off the people that are at the tables, but if you take it off, we'd love to open those up for you.
The snap, time, throws, it is incomplete, zeros on the clock, ball game, no flags, Alabama wins. Let's get out of here.
Welcome back to the Alabama Sugar Bowl preview show on the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield. Presented by Cook's Pest Control and the Centricon System, the unbeatable combination for termite protection. And by Toyota. Visit your local Toyota dealer today. Toyota, let's go places.
Welcome back, everybody. Great to have you with us as we continue on with the Alabama Sugar Bowl preview show. It is indeed presented by Toyota and Cook's Pest Control. Had a wonderful time visiting with Coach Nick Saban for the first hour of our 90-minute program, but we've got, thankfully, John Parker Wilson, Mark Ingram, who are sticking around and joining us for the duration. If you'd like to talk with them, 877-202-BAMA. That's Yellowhammer Brewing hotline number. Also, I think we've still got our microphone. We may have a question or two we can work in as we continue here at the New Orleans Marriott. I got to ask you guys, and I cheated and gave JP a little extra time on this one, Mark, so I'll let him go first and let you think about it for a moment, because you're still playing. JP, you were in the NFL for 5 years, I believe, and then moved into corporate America and doing that now. But I'm curious for both of you, how many times a day do you hear Nick Saban's voice in your ear? no matter what you're encountering, no matter what you're doing?
I mean, honestly, it's every day, right? It's every day that, you know, you go to work, you've got a job to do, and you're trying to do the best job you can possibly do for everybody that's involved, whether it's at work, whether it's at home with your family, right? I mean, the things that Coach Saban was able to teach us at such a young age, talk about a blessing of being around somebody like that that's going to instill to you how to be good at football, but how to be good off the field also, and that leads into NFL, and then it leads into being a dad and a husband and a friend and everything else. So, you know, I'm driving down here today from Birmingham and listening to a book, and you know, I'm thinking about planning for 23 and everything, and it's like process is like the number one thing. Like, how do we tweak our process? How do we get it better? How does it change? How does it keep evolving? So, you know, for me, it's every day, and it was, you know, talk about impactful when you're that young to be able to have something like that day in and day out.
I mean, exactly what JP Dub said, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, in everyday life, it's just something that's been ingrained in you. I wouldn't say that it's his voice, but it's like what he instilled in you. It's like you came here and you believed in the process, and like, this process will help you be a better football player, but it'll help you be a better man in whatever you choose to do. Like JP said, like in life, in your profession, like whatever it is, treating people the right way. You just be the best you could be, work your butt off, and try to, you know, bring your best value to those around you. And if you do that, you'll have the best individual result as well. So it's like, you know, the big team, little me mentality. Do the best you could do at everything that you could do, no matter what it is. It's a mindset, it's a lifestyle, it's a mentality, it's a culture that's instilled in you, that's engraved in your DNA. And I think that's kind of like what set us apart. You know, those first classes, and even since then, you know, it's just been great. It's just been a great run of great teams, and that's a culture.
Culture, indeed. You got a grin on your face.
I'm thinking, like, all right, this is like we do live it. I think you live it every day, and it's just who we are. I'm thinking, like, some people don't like living it. Like my wife, she's like, everything doesn't have to be a process. Like, it doesn't. We could just relax. I'm like, no, it's just the way it is, though.
Yep, man. It's always a process, man. You got to get one foot in front of the other. I remember Coach Saban told me, he said, "Be where your feet are." It's like if you're looking about the future, you get anxious. If you're looking like in the past, you get content. So it's like just be where your feet are, and that's something I always kind of took with me. And control what you can control, and be where your feet are. It's like be in the moment, and like, you know, control what you can control, and everything will take care of itself if you do that.
Well, Tom Stipe and Jerry Kelly are getting anxious because I'm behind on breaks. I need to get one in right now. Keep up with everything Alabama with the Roll Tide mobile app presented by Cadence Bank. It's available at the App Store and at Google Play. Download that Roll Tide mobile app now for free. We're back with Mark and John Parker in just a moment here on the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield. Welcome back, everybody. So glad to have you with us here at the New Orleans Marriott. Coach Nick Saban joined us for the first hour of our show, the Alabama Sugar Bowl preview show presented by Toyota and Cook's Pest Control. Mark Ingram, John Parker Wilson here with us. Hey, JP, we're going to put you to work a little bit early for tomorrow. How about the keys to victory? Have you got them already? Or if I messed up, I say tomorrow, forgive me.
No,
Saturday. I've got people going, wait a minute, they moved it to Friday? What do you got? Keys to victory presented by your local Toyota dealer. We'll remind people to visit their local Toyota dealers or explore Toyota.com today. And no matter your destination, Toyota goes with you. Toyota, let's go places. What you got, partner?
Well, I have prepared for it. I got keys to victory. I got game plan if you want that. It's up in the room, so I'm kind of going off the fly right here. I think the keys to victory, look, this is a good Kansas State team. Won the Big 12. They are have some really good players. That running back the coach talked about, Deuce Vaughn, he's a talent. I mean, he's a little bitty guy, 5'6". He's listed at 176.
Makes Mark look big.
I'm going to take the under on that. Yes.
Yeah.
Makes Mark look huge, but he's a really good player. I think Will Howard, the quarterback's playing good. Malik Knowles, the wide receiver, they use him a lot. They do a lot of different things, but in a game like this, that in Kansas State defense, they've got a really good pass rush on the edge, still working on his name. Do you have his name down yet?
Which one? Forgive me. See, this is great on radio. Yeah, I'm going to do the Kenny Stabler deal. That's number 91.
Number 91 right there.
Number 91.
He was the Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year. And I'll tell you what really stands out to me, they're plus 14 on the turnover battle. So in a game like this, when you're playing an unfamiliar person, unfamiliar team, you got to take care of the ball. You got to start there, be clean in penalties, and then just go let it play. So you got to win up front the battle. Pee Wee talked about already. So offensive line, defensive line play, and then try to win the turnover battle, and then let it fly after that.
None of you guys brave enough to pronounce this, man?
Look, we do this right here.
Anu-DK, Uzuma.
That's it.
Very nicely done. So you got to bring it. You got to bring in professionals for this.
Hey, no, I need stuff simple. Like, explain
the phonetic stuff.
Explain to me like I'm in kindergarten. Like, that's what I want you to do to me, right?
Right.
Explain to me like I'm in kindergarten, and they did it right here.
They do. They've got it there phonetically. It's just right. Hey, I want to ask, because we're talking about the size of the running back for Kansas State. You're a good-sized man, but the memes of you standing next to Derrick Henry at bowl games or championship games.
You go stand next to somebody 6'5", 250, 260 when he's in full pads.
He's massive.
He's massive.
He's massive.
He's like a DN, right? And the camera angle didn't help me off the
Yeah,
rip, right?
Didn't do you any favors there.
The camera angle didn't help me, and on top, like, I'm 5'10", he's 6'5", like, with full pads on.
And he was in pads.
He's in full pads, so he's really like 6'6".
I remember standing on the sidelines next to him the first time, and look, the world's giant to me. You know that. When I was standing next to him and another guy, one was a defensive lineman, and I assumed that the one to my left was a defensive lineman, and it was a freshman, Derrick Henry. Yeah. He ain't even grown yet. Not full grown.
Dude's a mutant.
He is. You tell him that. I'm not going to ever call him anything but sir, and we'll go from that. Please forgive me. I got to get one more break in real quick here. Back with more from the New Orleans Marriott in a moment on the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield. I'm apologizing, but my boss, Jim Carabin, say, don't you apologize, boy. You get the spots in. Get the breaks in. All right, where am I? Was that break 7 or 8? That was break 8?
This is 7.
This is 7?
7.
8 and 9 or 9 and 10? My format says 9 and 10.
9 and 10.
So I've got to do break 8. Why don't you go ahead and throw, can you throw break 8 here?
I cannot because it's a local. Could do it the other way, but.
All right, don't turn me up on the PA. Our Alabama Sugar Bowl preview show rolls on. It's presented by Toyota and Cook's Pest Control. Hey, just a reminder, your Alabama live sport radio is not going to be available for use during the Sugar Bowl broadcast due to the Sugar Bowl's policy governing live in-venue radio. So we apologize, but those live sport radios where you've been able to listen to our broadcast in the stadium itself, that's not going to be in use tomorrow. That's not our call. That's the Sugar Bowl's policy, and it's frankly the policy of a lot of bowl games. But we do apologize and wanted to let you know you can leave those back at the hotel or in the car if that's the case. Mark Ingram's been great to join John Parker Wilson and myself here. We're in your town. We won't do too much damage to it over the next couple of days before kickoff at 11 a.m.
Y'all can't hurt this city, man. Y'all go have fun. This city's alive and well. Y'all go knock your heart out. You know what I mean? Go have fun. Go tear the city up. But it's gonna still be standing here strong. It never fails.
I do want your thoughts on this Alabama team and this matchup. I know you hadn't dived into Kansas State very much at all, but a program we all know a lot about. They're normally undersized guys. They are in this, but they're always good. They're always tough, and looks like they are again.
Yeah, I mean, one of my best friends, one of my, one of the OGs when I came to the locker room was Darren Sproles, a Kansas State legend. And like you said, undersized, tough. It's not about the size of the dog in the fight. It's about the size of the fight in the dog. You feel me? And like you said, it seems like they're living up to that, kind of saying right now. But it's about us always, man. It's always about what we do at Alabama. Like, if we play the ball we're supposed to play, nobody can see us. You know what I mean? You got to stop from beating yourself before you can win games. So that's turnovers, that's penalties, that's big plays, that's controlling the line of scrimmage on offense, that's getting pressure on the quarterback, stopping the run on defense. Like, all those things. Can you create a game changer in special teams? Kick return, punt return. Can you cause a fumble? Can you block a punt? Like, all those things. Can you force a turnover? That's going to get the ball to Bryce Young and the offense more. And we love when Bryce has the football because it's the opportunity to score points, it's the opportunity for big plays. So the more chances he gets at doing it, the better off we'll be in the game. So defense got to play strong, offense got to play strong, special teams got to play strong. Everyone has to do their job. Do your job. Don't worry about anything else. 1/11th, you're one man. If you do your job, you focus on your job, you whoop your man in front of you then. And if all 11 men do that, you'll love the outcome every single time. And that's just something Coach Saban kind of taught us. Like, don't worry about doing somebody else's job. Focus on doing your job. Do it to the best of your ability and the best you can every single time. If every single one of you guys has that mentality and you execute at that type of level and that type of tenacity and that type of mentality every single play, we'll all love the results at the end of the day.
It is always fantastic to have you back with us, whether see you on the sidelines or have a chance to visit with you here. Rumor going around, you might be on the sidelines with a microphone in your hand on Saturday.
Hey, if y'all want me, you know what I mean, I'm in there.
Well, there's a real good chance we'll be letting you say hello on this network again on Saturday. We appreciate the time. We're going to let you slip out early. We know you got some obligations, and we really appreciate the time. It's great to have you here. Proud of you.
I appreciate you guys having me.
Great to see you. Mark Ingram, ladies and gentlemen.
Tide, baby.
Alabama great, the first Heisman Trophy winner in Alabama football history. And our sideline guy, I believe, on Saturday. Coming up, our color analyst will be back with me on the other side of this final break here on the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield. Wrapping up the Alabama Sugar Bowl preview show presented by Toyota and Cook's Pest Control. Coming to you live from the New Orleans Marriott. We've had a lot of fun with Coach Nick Saban, with Mark Ingram, John Parker Wilson. Thanks so much, partner. Been a lot of fun to hang out with you and your old running back and your former head coach as well.
It was fun. I think, Saturday's going to be fun, too. I'm really looking forward to this game, this matchup against Kansas State. They won the Big 12, and now we got a chance to finish this season out on a high note, send some of these legends that we have on our team out on a high note, and get ready for next year. So I think it's going to be fun on Saturday. Early kick, looking forward to that, and trying to get to business early.
8 a.m. broadcast, so curfew will be early, JP. Kickoff is indeed at 11 a.m. from here in New Orleans. If you missed any of tonight's show, you can always catch it on demand on our Alabama Insider podcast. Download and subscribe wherever you get your podcast. We appreciate you listening so very much. Great audience that has been kind enough to stick around. It's always fun to visit with Alabama fans from literally all over the country. Thank you for joining us on our affiliate stations and the Varsity app as well. For the boss, Jim Carabin, and all of us with the Crimson Tide Sports Network, I'm Chris Stewart. Thanks so much, Tom Stipe. Great work as always, our producer, engineer. Roll Tide, everybody, and we'll talk with you Saturday morning bright and early.
Thank you, boys.